of the project, and I want to hover on this magenta handle that's the template drop handle now. When we select this, first and foremost, we can see text. As soon as I pick that, there's text. These are editable handlers or handles and text. So I do want to point out, I'm going to do something really quick for the class. I hate this color. And if you know a lot about it, and to be fair, I'm from Florida originally, so another pompous Geopack guy, right? Because we think we're the best. That's where we're born, guys. So that's what we think. But anyhow, the colors. The Geopack colleagues built this, and I don't know if you knew this, the colors that were chosen were the University of Florida logo colors, orange and blue. And then I complained, and they set them all to orange. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of orange against black. It's kind of hard to see. So just today, I'm going to do this really quick. I don't expect you guys to do it. It's just so you can see my screen a little bit better. I'm going to go to the backstage. That's the file tab. In the very top left, it's blue. I'm going to select it. I'm going to go down to the section called settings. It's about in the middle here. When I select that, I'm going to recognize there's 4 categories here. I'm going to stay on the user one, and down this column of user settings, we're going to navigate down near the bottom, and it says preferences. I'm going to select that. Now, when this appears, this dialog, I've got an active panel, and I've got a list of categories on the left. I'm going to go to the very bottommost category called View Options Civil, and you're going to see a whole bunch of panels. I'm going to collapse all of them but the one I'm focusing on for you today, so you know which one I'm talking about. It's this one right here called Manipulator Settings. First thing, the manipulator size. Anybody in the back is probably having a hard time seeing the size of those little triangles. So I'm going to make mine twice as big by putting in a value of 20. I kind of think when you're first learning the software, it's kind of like when kids play with Legos. Remember those Duplo ones where they're fatter because they just don't have the skills? So I make them bigger and chunkier, easier to grab. And then as I get better, then we maybe make them smaller. I never do. I always leave it at 20. But now, I've changed that. The next line item is normal color. I am going to get it off of the UF orange, and I'm just going to put it something a bit more vibrant. So I'm going to pick maybe this green here, or a yellow. Choose what you think makes sense. I'm going to pick this green, and that's about it. I could change other things if I want. You know, maybe the text is hard to read. So if you look, I've got down this list, there's the manipulator font scale. I'm going to make it 1.2. So I'm going to increase it by about 20%, make it a little bit bigger. I do want to forewarn you, if you make that like a number 2, it's not going to look right. The text line spacing doesn't work, so stuff overlaps. You're just going to notice. So 20 still looks good, you can get away with it. So I'm going to change that. And then if you want the font changed, I'm a nerd about fonts. I literally watched a movie about them. I thought it was cool. As a result, I found that everyone uses Arial today. Everyone and everything we do uses like Arial, you know, I don't know. Please don't pick Comic Sans, just don't. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick something different. So I usually pick, and this is just me, I usually pick Tahoma. Microsoft didn't want to pay the Helvetic licensing, so they made their own instead. It's kind of sneaky. So I picked that because it's still readable, but it looks different than all my CAD text and everything else. So while I'm working with like right-away files with lots of text, I just find it's easier experience for me. So don't be afraid to tweak things to make this more efficient for you, right? Now, once I've done that, those are a couple of changes. And you don't have to do it. But once I've done this and I come down to the bottom and hit OK, then you're going to notice I'm going to go back to what we call the canvas. That is actually the design environment. And the canvas is denoted, we can access that by the upper left arrow on the top corner here. So notice I've got that arrow in a circle. When I select this, I'm returned back. Now, I'm not saying the back row can see that text better, but I think it should be a little bit easier to be able to make out what that says. A little bit easier. And so the handles are bigger, the